don't want to be hoggish about this, so I'll tell you what. Let's divide the worm. And we'll draw a line and bisect them. Now, all on that side of the line is yours. I'll take all on this side. Well, barbecue my ham hocks. Your half is gone. Now, don't give me no lip, son. You gotta stick by your bargain. I'd do the same. Well, hog gravy and chitlins. My half is gone. I know what you're gonna say, son. When two halves is gone, there's nothing left. And you're right. It's a little old worm who wasn't there. Two nothings is nothing. That's mathematics, son. You can argue with me, but you can't argue with figures. Two half nothings is a whole nothing. And I know what I'm talking about because...
What's up? It's your boy Podrey. And I was watching Star Wars Clone Wars series. I was watching the Star Wars Clone Wars series on Disney. And now I'm recording from Second Life, playing this game, keeping my mind going, boozy. Anyway, I was watching that, and on the episode that I'm watching, they're talking about slavery. And what bothers me is that if there's any kids watching, well, the kid is just thrown into an episode about something realistic, something that has happened in the past and is happening on so many different layers, but they are not taking the time to give any explanation. Meaning, they're putting such a fucked up topic inside of a cartoon, but they're not being responsible enough to educate the kids about the topic of slavery. It's just one episode after another, you know what I'm saying? And they're getting their ratings, they're getting their views, and that's it. I had watched this other series called Raising Dion. I forgot what platform that is on, but ironically, I'm not going to say ironically because I kind of sort of know what it is. I looked the word up a long time ago, but I forgot the definition, and I don't want to sound stupid. But it's crazy how I just watched this episode, Raising Dion, and it was talking about racism. As a matter of fact, Dion is a brown kid, and he has these abilities that he had. I'm not gonna fuck it up. You gotta watch the story. You gotta watch the show. So far it's pretty interesting. But this kid was bullying him, and he got pissed off. Dion got pissed off and lost control of his powers. The other kid got hurt. Principal came out, automatically looked at Dion and accused Dion of being the provoker of the issue. The other kid was not a brown kid. The other kid was the same race as the principal. The principal was not brown as well. So here we are dealing with an issue of racism, on this TV show, this TV series. And the mother of Dion, she has a sister, and her sister was telling Dion's mother, you gotta have that talk with him. Dion's mother was like, but he's only 7. And when I heard that, I was like, what the fuck? I mean, shit. I think my mom hooked up with this dude that was talking about, was hipping me to what's going on with racism back when I was in the 3rd grade. And I don't know how old a kid is when they're in the 3rd grade. I don't feel like doing my math, but it sure wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't 7. I was much younger than this character Dion. And so that's what made me think, what the fuck, man? These people these writers, these producers, they really don't give a fuck about our kids. You know what I'm saying? For one, it shouldn't even been in the series. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to be responsible enough to educate the kids, give a warning, this is going to be, a fucked up series based off of the content, and then go into detail about what has happened to the people on both sides of this fucked up ass topic of racism. You know what I'm saying? And give facts and truth and give references so that a kid can be like, okay, before I watch this episode, let me go check out these references to see what I'm about to educate myself on something before I get into this episode. So that way I'm not fucking lost or ignorant towards what's going on. Ignorant meaning being lost, you know what I'm saying? Going into the episode not knowing the fuck's really going on. Alright, so I sat there, I was like, man, I was like, now, between these 2 episodes, it reminds me of when my niece used to watch Teen Titans, and they had the alien female, the Martian female, whatever the fuck, talking ignorant as fuck. And the way that they explained it was that her culture, her alien culture, learned how to talk by kissing whatever other, whoever was speaking a different language, that alien, that Martian, you know what I'm saying, from Teen Titans, her culture would kiss that other culture to teach themselves how to speak their language. I was like, ain't that some bullshit? You know what I'm saying? But yet, once again, there's no warning to what the fuck's about to happen. Now, me being an adult, I was like, this is crazy. I'm an adult, and I'm lost on what the fuck's going on. I didn't get it. I didn't appreciate it. And I sure as fuck didn't want my niece to watch the shit. My niece didn't like that. She was more or less like, why are you trying to fuck up my fun? You know what I'm saying? And no matter how I tried to explain it, it's one of those things where at least she had someone in her life that was trying to explain the fuck up that was coming from this TV show. But I sit back and I think, how many other kids is watching this shit, and more than likely their parents are at work when this kid is watching this bullshit. And the kid is not going to say, Mom, Dad, I watched this episode and they was talking about this. They was doing this. I don't understand what's going on. I'm about to hit another layer real quick. It's not off the topic, but my family listens or watches this show called The Young Turks. You know, they talk about the issues that's going on around the world. You know what I'm saying? It's still a thing about ratings, so I really gives two fucks. But there's this commercial that comes on, and this kid is like, can you explain to me what's going on between Ukraine and Russia? And it's basically a news channel for kids. So they can, you know, talk in layman's terms, I guess, so kids could understand. I was like, that is a fucking great concept. That's cool as fuck. And then I wonder, you know what I'm saying, how many parents are really allowing their kids to watch that instead of a lot of the other bullshit that their kid is watching. Now, I heard through the grapevine that a child should only get an hour or two of TV. The rest of their time should be used on getting them ready for the world, one way or another. And that might seem pretty, it might seem like you're closing your kid off, but it's like, why be afraid to do that? Because what's really out there for these kids? You know, there used to be boys and girls clubs, but you can't trust your kid to be there because they're basically babysitters while the parent is off doing what the fuck ever. And whatever goes on inside that school, the parent is not going to know about it. You know what I'm saying? Or they're going to find out the hard way. So it's like, man, what's really out there? And then you got Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. There's so much bullshit going on with that to where it's like, can you really trust your kids with Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts? So I'm going to get right back around. I'm going to wrap this conversation right back around to Disney. There was an issue earlier in 2022. I'm saying that because I don't know when a person is going to watch this video, but there were some brown kids outside of this Disney venue, and one of the puppets, one of the people in the costume, walked right by these brown girls, even though these brown girls was trying, you know, had their hands out like either give me a high five or give me a handshake. And it's like there were kids, maybe 5 or 6 people down that that person gave them attention to. But even though these girls had their hands out, that person in the costume walked right by them like, you know, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? It caused a little uproar. I ain't gonna say a little uproar. It caused a scene that got noticed, and people talked about it on the news and on some other media, social medias, and all that kind of good stuff. But it's like, it's a part of Disney. You know what I'm saying? Customer service should be a non-racial thing. Anywhere, with any business. So I sit back and I'm like, man, I'm watching this show. I'm watching both shows. And not only am I trying to be entertained by it, but I get triggered because there's so much bullshit going on that it can't be ignored. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I really, 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 really don't like it. Now, I got a small channel. And I know that it'll take a... I don't know. I don't know. I might get a view on this. I might not. I don't know. But I would hope that if you're watching this video, and here comes my disclaimer, I will hope that you understand that I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the dumbest person in the world. I have done my research on some things, and there are so many things out there in this world that I could still do research on. With that being said, I would love if you questioned everything that I'm talking about. Then I would ask you to, I'm asking you to do your own research on these topics and form your own opinion about it. And when you form your own opinion about it, please, 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 please share your opinion in any way that you can. I believe people should share their opinions because you never know when someone might be thinking the same thing that you're thinking, but they don't have anybody to talk to. And I know what it feels like to be the only person in a room thinking something and everybody else is looking at me like I'm the fucking weirdo. But yet later on down the line, if they had remembered that I was the one thinking that, they'd be like, oh shit, he was on to something. You know what I mean? So YouTube is a great platform for people to find different topics that they're familiar with, or they find some similarities in the way that they think. But sharing factful information is one of the things that could help us build communities that are safe, that are productive for the well-being of citizens, so that way we don't have to depend on city, state, or government assistance. I talk a lot about these sovereign cities. If I understand, I'm not going to use the word sovereign because I don't know the true definition of it, but an independent community. Independent meaning that they're not dependent on the city, state, or government for assistance. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, I would love to see that one day. I've made plenty of videos about the topic of these type of communities. And in this, I would say, I remember watching a documentary on Japanese cinema. And way back in the day, back when TV was in black and white, that cinema that they were talking about in the documentary had their employees sign a lifelong contract. And by doing that, the cinema, the production, whatever, the studio, there we go. The studio provided their employees everything that employee could possibly ask for. From, food, clothes, entertainment, miscellaneous items. They just shipped the shit in, you know what I'm saying? And the employees didn't have to leave the studio for nothing. And in that way, that studio was able to work day and night to pump out movies. Well, fuck. If we had a community that had housing, that had schools, and had factories, The people who lived in that housing would go to those schools to learn everything they need to know to work inside of that factory. That factory would produce items that would help keep that community sustained. Plus, it would export a lot of these items in order to gain, more money and to help out other people, period. Other countries, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Explore that idea. Just explore that idea. I mean, like I say, form your own opinion about that, but look up, some information on how communities can be independent of city-state government assistance. I'm gonna get off here because I get long-winded whenever I get passionate about these topics. But it's like, is Disney doing? I don't think Disney is giving our kids any type of good entertainment. It should be sectioned off and it should be policed. Kids at a certain age should be educated about life as early as possible. And it should be jammed into their brains non-stop. Education about all these topics that we are going through nowadays so that these kids will be prepared. It's like, fuck playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Fuck playing fucking Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? If you got a phone that has a computer on it, it should be full of education for these kids so that they be the strongest, most powerful kids that they can be. To beat the system that's trying to keep them down, or that will try to keep them down when they get older. I'm not crazy, and I'm not the only one that thinks this way. There's 24 hours in a day. What is a person gonna do with all those hours of a day? Just think about that, because it's like, how long can the average person hold their breath underwater? If it's 2, 3, or 4 minutes, that could be the thin line between life or death for somebody. So if 3 or 4 minutes could be life or death for somebody, what's up with the other 20, 21 hours of the day? How valuable is that? If 3 or 4 minutes is valuable for a life or death situation, what about the rest of the hours of the day? There are some folks who don't sleep at all. Not because they have that disorder, that disorder where they're not able to sleep, or the disorders to where they can't sleep. It's the fact that they make a focused, they're focused on something, and they'd rather do that than waste their time sleeping. Basically. So I'm like, man, I'm not asking people to do that. I do believe that we should take cat naps throughout the day to keep ourselves healthy, mentally and physically. Give our bodies a chance to recharge some battery cells. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. But it's like, I wish there were more people that I could find that talks on this level. I don't throw religion into this shit. I don't throw politics into this shit. I'm just throwing I'm trying to be as simple as I can. I'm trying to use some thought that's just like basic common sense. Like I said, I'm not the smartest person in the world. So I don't want to try to act like I'm the smartest person in the world, but I don't want to do that. But I got something that bothers me that I can't fix. I can't fix the situation that bothers me. And the thing that bothers me is that there are people in these companies that are purposely doing damage to the children, to the youth. And they're doing damage to the adults, the preteens, the teenagers that are aware of the actions that's happening. It's like I say, it's like if I wasn't watching this shit, I wouldn't know that it was happening. But since I am watching this shit, and since I am reading between the lines, it bothers me. So that's fucking with my mental health. But what can I do about it? I know there's a lot of people that have written Disney Studios to complain about their content, but the content hasn't changed. I don't give a fuck how they try to kiss people's ass a little bit by trying to make some type of changes to this racial divide that we have in this world. But they have so much work to do to make us happy as a community, because I don't trust them. You know what I'm saying? I know that there are people that work there and they're making money, but goddamn, if they are aware of the damage that is coming from out of the products from Disney, and they still choose to work there, they're just as fucked up as the people making the choices to come out with this crazy ass content. That's how deep I think it should be. If you know that you're helping somebody fuck over somebody else, you should stop. That's part of your job. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? So I'm going to get off of here. And like I said, if you're watching this, I'm going to give you my disclaimer again. I'm not the smartest person, but I'm not the dumbest person. There's some things that I've done my research on, and there's a lot of shit that I can still do research on. What I need you to do is to question everything that I'm talking about. Do a lot of research on these different topics that I'm talking about. Form your opinion and share your opinion with other people. There's got to be somebody that got the hook up to somebody else who can, make a change. It's like, I think that's 6 degrees of separation. Somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who might know you type shit, or might come back to you. You know what I'm saying? And in some certain type of way, I don't know. But anyway, for real, let me get out of here. I want you to have a good day, a good night, good morning. Peace.